that's why we have to just continue living in our purpose, because in us doing that, we give other people permission to do the same thing. And so I don't worry about the criticism, child. People gonna always have something to say. Where's my drink at? That's all I know.
We'll drink to that. We'll drink to that. Welcome to the Entrepreneurship podcast with X.T.C. I'm Shalonda.
I'm Tristan.
And I'm Chris.
As an entrepreneur starting or growing your business, you may have a destination, but the journey getting there can be a trip. We want to be your travel companions and inject a dose of X.T.C as we explore real-life conversations about navigating the world of entrepreneurship in the U.S. and the Caribbean. Come take this trip with us. Hello, trippers. Welcome to an episode of the Entrepreneur's Trip with X.T.C. I am X Shalonda.
T Tristan.
And I am C Chris.
And we got K.
Hi, y'all.
Khnuma in the house.
Oh, yeah, my name. That would be important, right?
Yes, that would be very important. Let me tell you guys, when you're having a good time, sometimes you just gotta keep it going. And when you add a little libation, it usually helps. So we have Khnuma Simmons, the CEO and founder of the darling little boutique here on St. Croix, My Girlfriend's Closet, and the global movement called Girlfriendism, back with us again to continue our conversation. When you're having a good time, you just want to keep it rolling, right, Chris?
Yeah.
That's right. So, adding some segments to season 2 here, we are going with What You Sippin' While You Trippin'. So, what is everybody drinking here tonight? Shalonda, we'll go with you first.
I am almost finishing up my wine, which is probably why I'm so excited about this episode. Like, you know, but forgive me now for whatever might come out of my mouth.
Khnuma, how about you?
We need a refill over there. That's a swiggle.
Something Moscato-esque.
Moscato-esque.
Kind of fruity.
The mystery drink.
Mystery.
That's a creeper. By her third sip, she was telling us everything cultural. You know, my culture,
Right.
The Madras Stripes Connexus. Yeah. So I'm gonna just sip on this right over here while I wait for my sponsor to kick in. You know, just a little clear, a little white, keep us real nice.
And I have the cerveza, the cafe, and some agua over here. So well hydrated and enjoying life.
Chris, we got a little bit of time on the clock, okay? Listen, you know you my bro, right? I love you to death, but we really got to work on that accent. Mira, cerveza.
Mira, cerveza.
Cerveza.
Más cerveza.
Yes, you got to roll the tongue, Chris.
Cerveza.
There's no R's.
That was a little harsh.
We got that culture coming through for Chris. We're gonna call you DC this episode, Culture Chris. All right.
Chris.
That's Chris's Polish culture right there. You say you got 3 drinks.
We add in some sazon to the Polish culture.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Without further ado,
So
we are
packing this time. I got you. I listen occasionally.
Well, you do listen occasionally, but since nobody wants to jump in, the wine's tucking. So we had such an amazing conversation talking about culture connection, customer collaborators, and community engagement in our other episode with Khnuma. But we really want to get to know a little bit more about her. So we are going to unpack Knuma's suitcase.
Ooh.
You realize she's a woman, right?
And I pack lots in my suitcase.
This is
Well,
girlfriendism.
you know what? I'm gonna say she got lots to pack, but she's a pretty good packer. You know, she's not like the Beverly Housewives that got like 4 Louis Vuitton things going on a weekend trip. But she has that much stuff we could unpack, but we're going to just take the overnight version. All right.
Yes, we'll just carry on for now.
Yeah. So, carry us on this trip. What is Knuma's deal? How did you get into entrepreneurship? What made you want to start this entrepreneurial trip?
Actually, it started in high school. And so I typically attribute it to the first retail experience that I had at this boutique called L'Italia Shoe Boutique with my girlfriend Monique. And when I think about it, though, I was actually working and doing my entrepreneurial thing from the age of 13 because I worked with Donna Elider Specialty Advertising, which was my neighbor. And she would have me come after school to help her with her business. And then I realized that I became also a Mary Kay consultant the minute I turned 16. And then I started working at L'Italia Shoe Boutique at 17. So I feel like I've been a mini entrepreneur all of my preteen into adult life.
Okay, so let me just jump in here for a second. For those listeners who do not know, Khnuma happens to be my little sister. Okay, full
Mm-hmm.
disclosure, right? Has a true entrepreneurial spirit. But do you guys remember that show in Living Color? I think it was
Oh,
like
I
in the
knew you were going to say,
80s.
I knew it.
I used to call her the Jamaican in high school, right? Because I was like, how much job you got? Really? Like, how much time you gonna be doing? You know, she was like the Jamaican
Yes,
with 10 jobs from Living Color, but now that gig thing is like the thing as entrepreneurs.
it
This
is.
economy is so she was ahead of her time, folks. Just saying.
Mm.
Yeah, I agree with that. So thank you very much,
Mhm.
darling. But you know,
See how
it has paid
it
off.
cleans it up.
It really has paid off because as long as I've known myself, I mean, I've always been doing multiple extracurricular activities in school. And then as I, got older, I was always working multiple jobs. And then what I realized is that I like, as an adult, having multiple streams of income. So
Mhm.
because I've learned how to multitask, I always have multiple streams of impact of income.
Mm.
But the thing is that I also have so many passions. So it's hard
Mhm.
to give any one thing up because even though I have multiple passions, they're all connected to one main purpose, which for me has always been women's empowerment. So it took me quite some time to kind of figure out how do I streamline all of these things. Like I can't go on forever doing 101 things, being exhausted, trying to juggle. But then I realized why it's all connected to a single purpose. And so as
Mhm.
I've been able to streamline that, I've been able to tap into why am I even alive? Why do I exist? Why am I here? What is my purpose? What is my work? What is my legacy building? What does that involve? And so I realized that all of these different streams, all of these different avenues, they all come together on the
Mhm.
same intersection for
Wow.
one main purpose.
And that
That's
purpose is
Wow.
awesome.
girlfriendism. I'm
There
just
you
here for the girlfriendism.
go.
Don't be jealous, boyfriends. Don't be jealous, boyfriends. Come on.
Let me tell you, it was such a it's funny how sometimes in entrepreneurship something that seems very little can actually be like the thing. Or
Mhm.
sometimes the thing that we take for granted is actually where our legacy lies. And so girlfriend is actually a term that came about from the girlfriends who would shop at the boutique. And there was always this feeling, right? Because in our other episode we were talking about how you make people feel. And so much
Mhm.
so that the girlfriends couldn't really find the verbiage in the dictionary. So we had to create our own word, right? And so it just started out being this like fun thing. It's girlfriendism. It's like a thing. And then I was like, but hold on, we live in a world where there are a lot of isms and they're not positive, but we actually get to put a spin on this one and make
Mhm.
it something that's empowering and impactful. And there really is a feeling that goes with it. And so now we are trademarked. Like that is our thing. And so I could tell my great, great, great grandbabies that your great 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 grandmama created something so powerful and wonderful that they had to create its own word, okay? Because there wasn't a word in the dictionary to describe it. And so,
So
I laugh about it, but it's really exciting for me when I think about that, because I think entrepreneurship for me, that's what it's about. It's what do I want people to say about me when I'm long gone? What do I want my great grandchildren to be able to look back and say about their great grandmother? I want them to say that she's badass. I want them to say that she was, ahead of her time. I want them to say, like, she was really thinking about us. And I do. I think about these children who don't even exist. What do I want them to know about their DNA and what's in their blood? Is that they can do anything they want to do. They can create anything that they want to create, because girlfriendism wasn't a thing that existed. It was created. And that's the beauty of entrepreneurship, is we get to create our own reality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
damn, let's just wrap this
I
up.
know.
There's a lot.
I had like so many questions in between.
No,
I wasn't sure if I could break. I was gonna ask her about the cultural connection that she had with the women that came to the store. Didn't you guys do like tea parties? I want to say tea parties. Was it a tea party? It seemed like it was more drinking. I don't think it
So
was
it
tea, but
could feel like a tea party. I
dancing.
mean, we're always having a party, that's for sure. Right? But it's definitely inspired by the women of St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands, because that is where the boutique was founded. And now it has really expanded into a global movement, because we go to Greece. This year, we're taking 34 women from the Virgin Islands to Greece. No shade, Tristan. Okay, that's a backstory. That's not
I'm not
okay.
gonna say anything. I'm not gonna say anything.
Right? And so now we're connecting with other women across the globe and sharing this experience that was birthed on this little 84 square miles, but really has this global vision. And so, yeah, the cultural piece is something that's going to always be a part of girlfriendism, right? Because it was birthed through me. It was birthed through the women who inspired it. And so there's going to always be that cultural component. It's part of the her story that we're now telling. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Her story, and not the his story.
Yes.
You
Yes.
got that right.
I got it. That's why I said it. You know I love my
You're
words. You
paying
know I love
attention,
my words.
Tristan.
I
Good
got
job,
it.
Tristan. You're getting better at this listening thing as we go along.
Listen,
So, Kimmy,
wait till we
can you
start
break
off-roading.
down? Could you break down for our audience who may not be familiar the different branches of girlfriendism and the focus areas, which
Yeah,
is why
good
I think
point.
women
So,
gravitate to it. Mm-hmm.
yeah, so it started out, like I said, as a boutique, right? It was just going to be a retail shop, something that I would open after my friend Monique actually closed her business. And I was like, well, where am I going to shop and get cute stuff, right? So it's like, well, I guess I'll just open my own shop. And so it developed from there, because remember, I was always this woman who's doing 101 things. So at the time, I didn't realize that this was the root of girlfriendism, but I always taught dance, and I was always involved in wellness, in mental health arena, especially in counseling. I was always, you know, in a position where I would have to speak to others or host trainings. And so girlfriendism has now expanded into more than just the girlfriendism fashion, which is the boutique, but there's girlfriendism fitness, which is very cultural, Tristan. So when you talk about that cultural piece, it's celebrating Caribbean culture through music and dance. So that's the girlfriendism fitness arm. Then there's the girlfriendism wellness, where we highlight mental health, right, especially for women, and particularly for women of color who are also business owners, because there's a different level of stress that comes with that.
Yep.
Then also the girlfriendism business component, where we do training, and we talk about customer service, and we talk about mental health in the workplace. And then now, since we're going to Greece and all, we also have the girlfriendism travel, where we're expanding in that way, so that way we can take our business everywhere and be global.
And maybe
And then
one
we do have the
boyfriendism.
nonprofit. Yeah, well, the boyfriends, I do have two sons, right? In Khnuma, and I'm thinking maybe that could be their legacy. They can continue where their mama left at some point, and they could expand on business through boyfriendism if they like to. But I think even to that, we're always open to everyone. It really is inclusive in a lot of ways. Anyone who supports women's empowerment, and we know that there are a lot of men, including you, Tristan and Chris, who do support it. So I see
Yep.
girlfriendism as being non-binary, non-gender specific in a lot of ways too.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And just to touch just a little bit, really, really quick, to what Kanuma is saying, it really, really isn't gender specific. What I really love about it is just the fact is that of the women empowerment, just seeing them get together, celebrating themselves, enjoying themselves, and that's what it's about. So,
Hmm.
Awesome. All
So
Absolutely.
right.
Well, thank you, Kristen. And you know, when we're happy, that means that y'all are happier too. So go on and support,
extremely
True.
okay?
happy.
You want us to be happy,
Y'all
all
know that
right?
quote. All right, Tristan, take us off roading.
All right, all right, all right. So, what we're gonna do, we're talking a little bit about culture. And culture plays into perspective, right, guys? So, when I
Mm-hmm.
heard Kanuma speaking, a couple of things came to mind, and what that was is that somewhere in our culture, I just realized that we're always working with an aunt, cousin, somebody that's close to the family at a very young age. So, the fact that you're an entrepreneur, and just looking at that, I was like, damn, we really, really do start from a very young age. But I got something for you.
Hmm.
When do compliments turn to criticism? And the
Ooh.
reason why I'm asking that is because as part of our culture, part of our perspective, is that what happens is that I remember Kanuma running around in high school. I didn't know she had so much going on. But that's just it. So we don't really see the hard work that you put into it. And then we turn around and
Hmm.
we're saying, oh, Kanuma's just doing girlfriendism. They think they're better than everybody. It's like a snob
Hmm.
party. We're over here just drinking wine, doing this, doing that.
What
And
happens with
sometimes you don't
boyfriendism?
really listen to the true stories.
Right?
So when Kanuma's celebrating her legacy and she's trying to encourage and empower, I just had a conversation today with a guy, Joey. I'm gonna shout out Joey because when you were just saying that and how we were celebrating you, I thought about how other people just look at it and then they turn these compliments into criticism, and it's because sometimes it might be a part of our culture. You're doing it because this is what you're accustomed to seeing, this is what it is you're accustomed to hearing. But how do
Hmm.
we deal with that, turning compliments into criticism?
Well, it's interesting. I'm trying to see if I see it from that cultural perspective, and I guess in some ways I can, but I think that from the mental health perspective, there's so many things that I just learned not to take personal anymore because people come from the lens of their own experience and they come with the perspective of their
Mm-hmm.
lens. And for some people that is tunnel vision, right? So entrepreneurship is not meant for everybody. It does require a certain level of discipline and commitment, that everyone is just not created for that, and that's okay. So they may not understand it, but it's okay. They don't have to understand it. So when they criticize, there are two sets of things that go on for me. One is we tend to criticize what we don't understand. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's not my issue. That sounds kind of bad to say it that way, but that's more of like a them projecting. That's them reflecting, or maybe them trying to understand it. And so it may come off as criticism, right? But that's their work to do. My work as an entrepreneur and the one who is the driving force behind what I've been planted on this earth to do is to make sure that I understand my purpose regardless of that criticism, right? And to use that to fuel me even more, not to prove them wrong, because I don't want to put my energy um, into areas that aren't celebrated, right? Because you want to
Right.
put your energy in places where you're fueled.
Mm-hmm.
But as long as I understand my why, then that's the important thing. And so I usually thank my criticizers. I'm like, oh, that's what you think of me. Thank you so much. Because that just fuels me even more, you know? And it just encourages
Their
me to
response is
understand.
probably like, "She's such a bitch,"
Yeah, yeah, it just helps me to.
because they're not
So,
getting the
and so,
energy they want.
and listen, what happens is, that saying, like, if you can't beat them, join them. I find that,
That's it.
most of the girlfriends who have been involved, and even the men who have been involved in girlfriendism, they're attracted. We share that
Mhm.
similar
We attract.
energy. But there are
Mhm.
some people too who have come over to the other side because they're like, you know what? I can't beat this positive energy. I just can't. And so I just might as well join you. And that's well,
What
like,
do you
yeah,
But
think?
that's what they wanted all the time, but didn't want
that's
to
what they
accept it.
wanted all the time. Exactly, right?
Mhm.
But that's that lens again. Like if someone doesn't
Yeah.
have experience with that energy, they can't
Mhm.
identify with it.
Mm.
Identify
But
with
maybe
it.
their criticism is just their way of seeking it. And so that's why we have to just continue living in our purpose, because in us doing that, we give other people permission to do the same thing. And so I don't worry about the criticism, child. People gonna always have something to say. Where's my drink at? That's all I know.
Well,
We'll drink to that. We'll drink to that.
Right.
We'll drink to
this is the
that.
last
We'll
time I
drink
take
to
Khnuma
that.
off-roaded before she drinks.
All right, and I think that's a perfect segue into some souvenirs here. Shalonda.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, there was so much nuggets of information and so many souvenirs. It's like going shopping in MGC. Like, which one do I pick?
Ooh.
It's just so
Mm.
good. All right, so this is what I this these are my high level souvenirs or takeaways from the conversation. Your business comes from you and it is fueled by your passion.
Mm.
So if you have
Mm.
passion in different areas, it allows you to diversify your offerings. It helps you to diversify your impact, but it also helps you to diversify your revenue stream. Can I get some
That's why
coin?
she's a doctoral candidate. Go ahead, Chris.
Right.
Damn, that's Knuma's big sister.
That's
Yes.
right. Another souvenir is, most people get into business thinking about the money, but really getting into business is about thinking about your legacy.
Mhm.
Your business, what is the impact it's going to have in the community? What is the impact it's going to have generations to come? So, what do you want your legacy to be? And start from there to build your business. And Mr. Offroader, who brought up when do compliments turn into criticism? Well, Kimmy had a really good comeback with that. Just don't give it no energy. And if any energy you project is positive energy, and it's interesting that that came up because I was in a conversation with some entrepreneurs in Orlando recently, and one of the entrepreneurs was focused on the naysayers, and my
Mm.
response to her was, whatever it is that we're doing as entrepreneurs, either individually or collectively, people who cannot understand or identify or want to be part of this energy that we're fueling
Mhm.
are not going to be part of it. And you just
Mhm.
can't focus on that. You focus on what your purpose is, what your passion is, and the impact you're trying to have. So, those are my souvenirs. Did I miss anything? Please feel free to add souvenirs that we can pack from this conversation.
Oh, Chris,
Uh,
I like how she's looking to the bottom. Like
right.
she's like, okay, let me see what does that comment say right there. All right, all right. So here's Tristan's souvenirs. So what I just got as a souvenir is that being an entrepreneur puts in that collective, that culture. Hold on, I wanted to say collective culture. Does that make sense? Anyway, it puts us in this small group, right?
Mhm.
That I don't know what I want to say. Go ahead, Chris. I'm done. It was going so good. I
It
had it
was
right
coming
here. Like
together.
I had it right. I was like, damn it.
All
No.
right. Gather your thoughts. Chris, what are your souvenirs? Hopefully by the before our minute is up, Tristan, we can get that souvenir because I want it.
All right. So I think the big one for me is just kind of the real introspective question of really who are you as an entrepreneur, and
Mhm.
to really like internalize that of not just like who are you as far as what you represent from your company or your business lines, but who are you in everything you do in your waking moments, and does what you do as an entrepreneur tie to that? And I think that really is that big thing of whether you can connect with someone on a real level, or whether you can sense that sale coming is
Mhm.
is the purpose in line with the business proposition or the business value. And if the person really wholeheartedly represents that, then it comes across a lot more authentic and
Mhm.
purposeful. Tristan.
What I had to say in 8 seconds is that it's an entrepreneurial culture, and that's
Mm-hmm.
what it is. It's an
Mm.
entrepreneurial culture, and where we share those similar thoughts of empowerment, support, networking, just those thoughts of coming together and doing more positive things, not because it's just for us. It's more
Mm-hmm.
about our legacy, our passions, and just getting things out there. I listened to a quote the other day, and it was like, the richest place in the world is a graveyard. And why they said it was a graveyard is because a lot of people that have ideas, have passions, never acted on them. And because they never acted on them, they took it with them, and they made the world a better place. So that's my takeaway.
That was more than 8 seconds,
Love.
by the way. Thank you.
The clock broke. That's what happened.
We'll give you some grace on that because it was very valuable. Thank you for that souvenir, Tristan.
All right. Now we are going to take in the view here. So 3-minute shot clock, and kind of this conversation brought this together for me, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, but I kind of want to get Khnuma's just a raw take on this. So Stephen Hawking said, work gives you meaning, and purpose and life is empty without it. So based on your experience, because I'm really I was really trying to figure out that balance of, was it work that led to your purpose, or was it your purpose that led to your work? So I'll just say it again: work gives you meaning, and purpose and life is empty without it.
Damn, he's
Well,
so freaking deep,
yeah, I
man.
know,
Jesus.
right?
Like,
Well, here's the thing. I feel like our purpose is our work. That is our
mhm.
work as human beings, as spiritual beings, as entrepreneurs, is to make our purpose our work. So it is very synchronous in that sense. And that does require this process of like self reflection and growth and being able to embrace the good with the bad, right? Or actually just rewriting the narrative about anything being bad at all. How does it
Mhm.
bring us closer to where we're supposed to be? And so I like that quote because it has me thinking. And I was actually along those lines kind of thinking to leave the nugget of, we just need to do more of what lives on when we die, which I know it can seem so morbid to talk about death, but it actually excites
It's
me
not.
to think about the things that I can leave for other generations, just like others have left things for me to be able to be in this position where I can actually focus on my purpose. So, Chris, to answer that, I think the purpose is our work, right? So we better get working on our purpose if we don't know what it is. And let's do more of what lives on when we die. And how we get to that is just reflecting on what is our why.
Mm,
I have a question because we're
Sure.
talking about energy, we're talking about like attracting like, we're talking about having purpose be your work and work be your purpose, or your purpose and your passion being integrated into how you do your business and why you do your business and who you are
Yeah.
as an entrepreneur. And as
Yeah.
you were talking, it reminded me of the episode that we did with Warren Mitchell, because
Oh,
that's
I love Warren.
exactly, yes, that's the exact thing that he was saying. My
Yeah.
passion is my work, and my work is my passion. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
wondering,
Yep.
are we attracting guests that
Mm-hmm.
are all aligned to this energetic, this energetic feel that we're trying to accomplish as a community? Or is the community selecting us because we're attracting that energy? Does that make sense?
mm.
Damn.
It does. Maybe we're
200%.
attracting each other. It's neither either or. It's both
I
and.
like it. It's an
Mm.
and. I
It's an
love that.
entrepreneurial culture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes, Tristan, it is. And there's our clock. Tristan, any last words?
Any last words? Please drop a like, comment, say something. I'm gonna share something with you guys really quick. There's a bunch of people out here doing a bunch of dumb shit, and this is not one of them. So just take a little time out, click like, just give us a comment. We just need some interaction, just a little more. You know, just let us know that we're being heard, we're being appreciated, and give Kanoa the love too. It's about our girlfriendisms.
Yes. Thanks, Tristan.
Love it.
Alrighty, guys, this wraps up another episode. I can't believe the time has flown by already. So, Khnuma, thank you so much. to pack your suitcase and join us on this entrepreneur trip. Tristan and Chris, my bros, welcome to Golfism. Welcome to
There
Golfism.
you go.
I've
Thanks
been
for
loving
allowing
it.
me to bring my
When's our next
carry-on.
tea party?
Yes, I finally
Sir?
made it in the club. All right, trippers. We'll
Thanks
see you next week. Thank you, Khnuma.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Thank you for taking this trip with us. We hope you had a great time. Join us every Tuesday for another dose of X.T.C. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and visit us at theentrepreneurs.trip.com for more entrepreneurship tips and trips. See you next time.